Okay, I just mute everybody first. Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. So we are live on Zoom and on Facebook. So with our Saturday night live show, 9 p.m. This is our 25th session. So it's brought to you by Fit Unit and PRKPP. So we bring new topics every week, discussion on the mental health, on physical health. So basically on our Ask the Experts platform and session. And we have Prof. Mohammad all the way from Telok Batik. So he's literally in front of the beach, on the beach, in front of the sea. And we're coming to you live from Ipoh, from Perak, from Telok Batik, from KL, and from everywhere else. So welcome everybody, welcome. So my name is Felicia and I'll be your host. So one of the things that we love to get together during the pandemic is to talk about or educate ourselves about definitely the importance of mindset, the importance of positivity. And so these are very important for our mental health. So we are trying to create self-awareness. So there's also Kak Linda in the background. So hello. And all right. So tonight's topic, let's jump right straight into it. Tonight's topic, Prof. Mohammad will be coming to you live from Telok Batik, and he will be sharing on a new mindset or mind reprogramming, right? So let's hear it out from Prof. Prof, the floor is yours. You can unmute yourself, Prof. Yeah, Prof, you need to unmute yourself on the microphone.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm unmuted already.
Yes. All right. Hello, Prof. Good evening. How are
All
you?
right. Good evening to Felicia. Good evening, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Tonight is a very special night. I'm doing a camping by the beach, Telok Batik, and now it is drizzling. So you can see I got an umbrella with me just beside the van. Can't do it in the van. It will become very dark. And I'm facing a pole where there is a 5 light with one spotlight pointing to me. There you can see so bright. Right. Okay. Tonight, actually, I've sent to you one of the so-called video clip from Dr. Joe Dispenza talking about who we are and how our mind is for the moment. So I would like to dwell in this topic with you all so that we can actually understand really about our mind as what I think it is important for us to take note currently, whatever age that we are in. So are we in the first slide? Can Felicia put up the first slide?
Okay, sure, Prof. Give me a second. I'll share my screen. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, I can see it very well. I've got the slide with me too, but
Okay.
I won't be able to actually project from this side because it will take a lot of data using my computer.
Okay.
So I was asking Felicia to help me out to do the projection. Thank you, Felicia. All
Right.
right, so the first slide is about, I would say, since we already have a mindset, I think now we have to look at that mindset that we have. So what is the current mindset that we have? Is it that we are always behaving as though we are the setter or we are the master in our everyday life and living, everyday things that we do, we actually charge? Or are we actually all this while be a victim to what has been programmed in us? I think this is very important for us to take note because if ever until now we don't feel that our life is actually bringing a lot of calm, goodness, and a good experience, good feeling, and things of that sort. And we keep always getting back to the old self where we believe that we are always victim to the circumstances. That means actually the past memories, the past experience, the past learning has created what we call we have been victimized. A lot of people are talking to our gene that we actually adopt or we got from our parents or grandparents is actually victimizing upon us because we cannot change the gene. And previously people are talking about genes determines who you are, genes determine your future. So the question is it really true? The genetic that you have, the traits that you have is the one that determines who you should be in the future. So this is the question. So in this case, let us look into it. Why previously people believe genetic is the answer to your problem. Example, if you have a family who has suffered cancer, if you have a family who has so-called diabetes, hypertension, and now you say that you have that gene, so you might be doomed with the same problem as your parents. So is it really true or is it actually otherwise? So the first question is that are you a victim because of your gene or because of the early actually programming that was done upon you, and that is who you are now, or actually you are the master for your fate, you are the master for the outcome, you are the setter. That means you set what you can be, what you don't want to. I think that is important. So now the question is that can you take care of yourself? As you can see in the slide, what does it mean here when you take care of yourself? So now you are free falling on without the parachute on yet. So how can you tumble down with all these uncertainties? So here we are talking about you need to know what to do. You need to have the skill how to do it. And that is very important because all of us are somehow falling to the ground from a very high height that possibly can cause hurt or can give us a very good experience that we can have. Secondly, what is your belief? Do you think the way you think has effect on your life? Or actually your life can be determined by you who can actually think about things very well. So if you believe that your thinking is the effect of your life, so what kind of a thinking are we talking about? Now the question is, when you start thinking, is it consciously thinking construct for your future? Or is it thinking that goes into the subconscious mind that you subsequently just let the program take over? In fact, thinking has two ways that you can go. One way is that you must think consciously. And when you think consciously, we call it mindful thinking. And when you think and then you get absorbed in your thinking, we call it mindless thinking. So this is the important aspect because as I see thinking and mindfully is actually a very small percentage of our daily life as compared to thinking subconsciously, mindlessly, which governs 95% of our life. On this slide, let us see what is going on with our mind, the brain. If the mind that is in the brain, the mind construct, is always have the same thought, the same actions, and the same feeling. What do you expect will be the outcome? will always be the same. Example, if the mind has the same thought, the same action, and the same feeling, whenever somebody hurts you, then the outcome will be again based on your memory, based on your experience, you will feel bad about the situation. And so it is very important because whatever that you are experiencing now is actually based on your past experience and past memory. So this is where when you have the same thought, same idea, same action, same feeling, it is because you have never moved away from the memories that was set within you. Subsequently, it also become a habit that is routinely you are doing. Your action will be the same. If you're angry with someone, obviously you will respond negatively, your emotion, your feeling, and obviously you can also respond in your habit. Example, routinely you will hide yourself away, you will isolate yourself, you avoid meeting up with people, you become very quiet, or you can become offensive, or you can become defensive. Those are the two. So actually, every thinking is about everything that you know. So now, if you're thinking about things that you already know, and you keep repeating the same thinking over and over again, so what can you expect? Obviously, the outcome will be the same. So, if possible now, can we change the way we think about things around us? Only that will make a difference. Remember the word personality. Personality talks about our thoughts, talks about our feelings, talks about our behavior or our response to the stimulus that we have, the action. But if you look at the other slide, personality, can you move to the next slide? Yeah. Personality refers to you make up your personal reality. So personality comes from what you have gathered since young. If I can actually remind you all of us, we have been programmed during the third trimester in the uterus of our mother until we were delivered and subsequently in the first 7 years of life. That was the very key important program that happened to all of us. Unfortunately, if the programming was negative nature, and that is when after 7 years of age, we will have the same mind, we will have the same thinking, we will have the same feeling, we will have the same action. So that is our personal reality, and that actually determines how our life will be. So remember, is it that in the first 7 years of our life program, are we doomed? Are we not able to do anything better than just actually getting the same situation, the same response, the same unhappy feeling, and things of that sort? So I think it is very important for us to take note that actually it is already habitual to all of us with regard to this situation that we are having. Become a habit is where it determines your destiny. So I think if it is already destined for you to reach to that level, obviously based on that memories and based on that so-called destiny, you may actually not feeling good at all with yourself. So be careful. Take note of what is going on with you right now. So now let us dwell it together with you. We try to look inside us. We try to develop our insight really. Who we are. What are we? Because think the way you feel, you will feel the way you think. And that is called the state of well-being. So is our well-being a very positive well-being or is our well-being a negative well-being? Always remember this. The ideas will develop your thoughts. And when you watch your thoughts, they become your words. And when you watch your words, they become your action. And when you watch your action, they become your habit. And when you watch your habit, they become your character. And when you watch your character, it will become your destiny. So try to look at ourselves at this age, maybe 20, maybe 30, maybe 40. Are we stuck? Are we doomed? Are we not able to change things? Are we not able to move way forward to be a better person? Because if that is the case, actually from 8 years onward, 8 years old onward, actually our life might be dictated so much by what we have been programmed. So that is very important for us to take. Yeah? So mind is about what happened when we already been programmed. It is about what we call it fires the same sequence, it fires the same pattern, and it fires the same combination. So that is what who we are right now, because our mind is set that way. So if Alicia can move to the next slide, that is where I've been talking about the brain fires the same sequence, the same pattern, and the same combination. So we have the same way of responding to things, the way we feel, the way we act, and the way we get along with our life, because of that sameness that is going on and on and on since our program years. So actually, until now, maybe at the age of 20, maybe at the age of 30, we are actually in the state of being, but unfortunately, it is the past being. We never progress to become a new being, a new state of better being. I think that is the issue with most of us who actually always have problems and easily emotionally become distressed. So based on that, obviously we can predict the future. What is going to happen if we are the same person over and over again without making any changes, without knowing that we need to make a change? So our future will be predictable. As I said to my client all the time, if you are not happy now and you decide not to do anything, what will happen? Because your life expectancy is for male at least 72 years of age or 73 years of age. Your female is about 76 years of age. So if you are 20, you got another 40, 50 years to go about. So would that be a predictable future? That is not good for you, because you'll never get out of the situation. So need to change your brain program. Need to move up and reset your mind, restructure your thinking, reprogram your mindset, and develop the new state of being. And what is important about the new state of being? You must actually have knowledge, because ignorance is your choice. You make a choice to be ignorant, but you can always undo the choice by making yourself more knowledgeable, more knowing, and at the end of the day, you will become a master. So if we were to look at it, what we are trying to offer to you today is with regard to, can you control your mind? Because your mind will make or break you. Your mind that is positive will give a positive outcome. The mind that is not negative will obviously have a negative result. You control your mind. As you know, if you allow not to actually dwell into your mind, whether it is positive or negative, then it will go automatically. This behavior of subconscious program will come into you all the time. So what happened is that, ask the question, have you actually mismanaged your thoughts, mismanaged your emotion, and mismanaged your action? As you know, obviously, the question is always true. The question is always there, that we have a tendency to actually mismanage ourselves. So if we were to look at the next slide, do you want to change, or can you change? Change can only come from within you. No one else can change you unless you decide to change yourself. No one else can do anything that matters to you unless you allow those things matters within yourself first. We can assist you, we can guide you, we actually can support you in your change for the better. I think that is very important here. As I said earlier, all this while, every day, our conscious mind is only 5%. So can we make a conscious mind become the 95% of our daily living as compared previously? Our subconscious mind controls the majority of our awakened time, whereby even though we are awake, but we are always the automatic subconscious mind that we are doing. Sometimes we are very conscious for a very short while, but subsequently we go back into the automatic subconscious mind. This is where I call between mindlessness and mindfulness. So I hope we can look into this aspect easily and very well, because without knowing that, without making the changes, we are going to be in trouble again and again and again until death do us part. So the question is that, can we change our mindlessness to mindfulness? Mindfulness means we are fully aware of our presence. So one of the mindfulness is called conscious meditation. So everything that we do actually is, if we do it in focus, if we do it with clear mind, it is called meditation. If we can really look into it very well, it is a form of meditation because we are doing it focused attention very well. But if we don't have our focused attention, then we don't do what we call mindful meditation or conscious meditation. And subsequently, for conscious meditation, you first must develop the conscious presence. That's why if you define mindfulness, it's about the present, not about the past, not about the future. It is about now. Every moment's matter, and every moment's give you the understanding of what is going on. You are fully aware what is going on. So this is very important. Example here, with regard to our eating, with regard to our habit, with regard to our thinking, with regard to our emotions, we have to make it conscious presence. This is one of the tools for conscious meditation. Subsequently, there's another aspect of conscious meditation. We call it conscious breathing. And breathing is also a form of meditation. If we can breathe and we know how we breathe and we know how to do what we call deep breathing, and we can do what we call relaxation breathings and things of that nature, we make it conscious. Unfortunately, even as simple as breathing, we have been breathing mindlessly. We have been breathing shallow. We have been breathing unable to bring a good exchange of oxygenation within our body with the carbon dioxide to come out. So I think that is important. The other aspect is what we call body awareness meditation. So that's why sometimes in meditation, beside breathing, we want you to actually do every part of your body to be aware from head to toe, to be aware the muscles, to be aware the so-called the gross nature of yourself, and also to be aware the within the so-called organs, the system that you have, and also with regard to other aspects that obviously can be for you to be better. Okay, I wonder what is going on. I'm not able to get in now with regard to the Zoom. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Prof, we can hear you clearly. Just
Okay,
continue. Yep.
all right. So beside the breathing and also body awareness, so the last slide here is with regard to, actually, if we are fully aware of our body, we can regulate our psycho, we can regulate our neurology, and we can regulate our immunology. This is where we call the PNI, the psychoneuroimmunology. As you know, actually when you are distressed, your immune system is actually going to be faulty. But if your psychology or your psyche is very well in place, your neurology response will be better, and subsequently your immune system will be boosting very well for you. And because of that, you will never easily get distressed, you will never easily get disease, and even the disease that you have, you will improve much, much better with the situation that you are facing. So this is where I think we need to now develop the way we actually believe in ourselves, the way we look at our state of being, because the state of being is the one that determines the future at which we are going to. Okay, so with that, I hope it is quite clear to you what it is all about. So pass it back to Felicia for our discussion.
All
Yep.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Prof. I think you mentioned a very interesting thing about psychoneuroimmunology.
Yeah.
So this PNI, how do we improve our interaction between? Let me go back
Yeah.
to the slide. Yeah, how do we improve the interaction between our psychological processes and, how does it, because it affects the nervous and the immune system of the human body,
Yes.
like what you mentioned, right? So how do we?
That's why the most important is the power of your mind.
Mm,
The mind is the one who determines who you can be in your so-called defenses, in your so-called disease state or distress state. So let's say I can tell you, if you are having proper state of being, proper state of mind, in fact, your immune system will be boosted up so well that actually you will never get into any kind of a disease state based on the immune system alone. And I can
mm,
tell you, the mind will always work very closely with the central nervous system. And so that is where the nervous will also play a very important role, because the key organ in ourselves is actually the brain and the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. And the one that protects us is actually the immune system. So this is how the three get related. We got the psychic, the nerve, and the immune system. So
so
it will boost up all the other system that we have.
wow, that's very insightful, Prof. So it's not just a healthy body will lead to a healthy mind. A healthy mind also leads to a healthy body.
Yes, very true. In fact,
Mm,
as I said, in all of us, we have the three domain that we need to actually equally develop to the optimum.
mm,
Our spirit, our soul, our mind, our psychic, our psychology, and our body, our physical gross body, and our internal body. All these need to be developed optimally, because without developing all these, we will not be in harmony. Our internal system is not in harmony.
mm.
Obviously, our external environment will be easily actually affecting all of us.
Yeah,
Remember that our mind, body, and soul is determined how we react to our social environment.
yeah, that's very interesting because you mentioned in the beginning, that's why I put it in also our Facebook live. Do you feel that your life is not bringing you calmness, peace, joy? Are you are feeling always like a victim of circumstances? And the question is it true that your genetic or traits determines who you are in the future? So I think you made it very clear in your presentation, saying that it's a lot of conscious choice. Because if let's say one person individual is 20 or 30 years old, and average life of a men and women, let's say in Malaysia, it's 75 or 76, right? So we have a
Yeah.
good 30, 40 years of life to go on. And it is by conscious choice and decision that you do something differently to obviously for a different results. So
Yeah.
even when you mention 95% we do it out of subconscious, and by 7 years old we already develop certain traits and certain personality. So if somebody probably wouldn't have that, the formative years, the first 7 years probably didn't have a good childhood, so to speak. What would you, how would you recommend that individual or individuals? I think now, especially now that we're dealing with so much of uncertainties and the modern age of pressure, life, career, everything has a timeline. So obviously there's stress, right?
Yeah.
How would you suggest somebody to do a lot of self-reflection, self-awareness, and moving forward, make conscious decision or choice to
Oh,
have a better future, so to speak?
all right. Thank you. Thank you for that good question.
Mm,
A very good reminder for us is this. We can control the social environment, but we can always control our own internal environment. We actually the master of our mind. We are actually the determinant or determine our thinking, our feeling, and our action. We are the only one who either make or break ourselves. So if you believe that you already possibly gone into unfortunate situation whereby you believe your program has been very faulty since your third trimester of life, and then you were delivered and you become the first year baby, and subsequently you become the first 7 years where you never, or your white cloth has been painted so badly.
mm,
Well, that is what you have been programmed. But when I'm talking about conscious programming, this is where we cannot just continuously do things unconsciously or subconsciously and let it be without looking into consciously. So that's why I think for now I'm trying to focus. There is two aspects of changing yourself. One is the conscious mind, that is called mindfulness.
mm,
Another one is reprogramming your subconscious mind, that is called hypnosis. So both need to be done, both need to be assisted, both need to be actually guided by professionals. In fact, a lot of people have been able to do it based on their realization of what they need to do. I think this
mm,
is where you have to come forward, seek a group who actually already practice what we call conscious mindfulness and reprogram your subconscious mind, possibly using the technique of a very simple technique. We call it self hypnosis.
mm,
You can always program your thought by giving a positive affirmation every day about who you are, because if you don't do that, no one else can do that. If you don't believe yourself, no one else can make you believe. If you don't trust what you can be, no one else can make you actually change to what you want. So that's how I look at it.
all right, that is really good. Self hypnosis, and definitely reaching out to do something about it. If you want to change, then you have to be the change lah, that is really good. Thank you, Prof, for that answer. Okay, maybe for some of the tips, give some tips to the audience, and share with us. What are the signs of, because you mentioned mindlessness? I think we always hear mindfulness, right? But the
Mm-mm.
opposite of mindfulness is mindlessness, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
mindless, sometimes even breathing, we are even taking it for granted, like we are breathing but we are not living in the present. We always think about the future, we always have these regrets about the past. So maybe you can share with us, what are the symptoms, what are the signs of a person, it could be just us on a daily basis, right? uh
yeah.
Living in the mindlessness. What are the signs and symptoms?
Okay, as simple as this, I let me just give you my own example of being mindless. I can
Mm,
tell you, even as a psychiatrist, even practicing, trying to practice as much mindfulness, I will always fall into the trap of being mindless. That
mm,
is a normal thing that happened to us because we have been programmed somehow all this while to be more of a mindless person, to be more of an automatic behavior, automatic feeling person, and things of that sort. So, example of this nature, all right? Let's say today I heard a news that something bad is going to happen to me.
mm,
So what will be the mindless thought that comes is when I look at that, I first define it as bad. When I define it as bad, what will happen? My own vocabulary with regard to understanding the word bad means nothing will come out good about it.
right.
So obviously my thought will continuously go into bad thoughts. My
Mm,
feeling will continuously go into negative emotion.
mm-hmm,
My behavior can be. Since it is bad, I may get angry. I may get frustrated. I may look for someone whom I can bully. I may look for someone whom I can use as a punching bag. I can, if I am a person who is possibly have some authority, example, I'm a lecturer, and my student can become feeling so bad in my presence because I
mm,
can just easily become oversensitive. So this is how actually we have been programmed. We don't like bad, and but we don't know that we actually continuously
yeah, we're
think
doing that. Mm,
the outcome as being bad.
wow.
So all the time the program has been there. When you feel that somebody is not for you, so you have a tendency to either offense or defense. So that is the so-called the program that is already there with you. As for me, even though after some while I have the knowledge, I have some skill to overcome it. I try to do mindfulness, but then I will always slip into these mistakes because I have a tendency to become mindless when I try to think deep about it. So that's
Mm,
why thinking can also become very conscious thinking, or thinking can immediately lead you to a mindless thinking,
yeah.
whether you realize it or not.
Wow. So how fast can you from a mindlessness, like thinking, to quickly change into mindfulness? Can it be done within a few seconds when you just reflect on it and take a deep
Uh,
breath?
yeah.
Like can it happen that quick?
Okay. The issue here is that always remember when we just started, we are so amateur.
Mm,
When we just started practicing it, we will always not be able to become a pro in being mindful.
mm,
That's why some of us who can always put aside all this distress, they are so powerful, they are so actually very professional, they can do it within seconds. They
wow.
can change that instant. But always remember, all of us have to take the baby step.
Mm,
Before we know, now we start to know.
right.
Once we start to know, we start to develop step by step how to improve ourselves, how to be
Mm,
better. So don't get frustrated. It is not a quick fix somehow because remember this, the program is already done in the first 7 years. To undo the 7 years program itself, possibly it will take another 7 years. But some people have become so rigid within that program, even to chip off the outer layer of the problems that they have in their mindset. It is not easy for them. So it takes time, but surely if you discipline enough wanting to do it, discipline enough wanting to know about it, discipline enough looking for answer, discipline enough wanting to get people to assist you, be the teacher, be your coach, be your trainer, then you may get it easily and you may get it faster than those who try to work things on their own.
right. Wow, that's good. And I'm this is also me relating back to our last week's topic, right, about uh, emotional intelligence.
Yes, yes.
And obviously, if we are dealing with somebody who takes it a little bit longer to change their mindlessness into mindfulness, and sometimes we are being self-aware, but sometimes in a family or your close friends, partners, working colleagues could have a rigid mindset, like what you said, because it's being programmed more than 7 years and beyond, right?
Yeah,
And so I'm guessing a person to deal with that difficult rigid mindset is to really have emotional intelligence.
yeah.
Mm,
As I said, we also should know that we have 9 intelligences that we
mm,
must develop within us. But the key intelligences is actually number one is emotional intelligence. Number two is spiritual intelligence. Or I can say number one is spiritual intelligence. Number two is emotional
emotional
intelligence.
intelligence.
Number three is physical intelligence. Number four is academic intellectual intelligence. Number five, then you can talk about so-called this nature intelligence. And number six, you can talk about your right brain intelligence.
Sorry, number six, Prof.
Your right brain
Oh,
intelligence.
right brain intelligence. Okay.
Yeah, because right brain intelligence is all the soft skills, all the creativity, the talent, the innate talent that you have. So because we develop only the left brain intelligence, so the right brain intelligence appears to be under, how should I say, underdeveloped. Or we try
Mm,
to push aside, thinking that the right brain intelligence doesn't bring monetary gain, doesn't bring position. That's why we are so worried right now. People are just focusing on intellectual intelligence and missing emotional intelligence, missing physical intelligence, missing spiritual existential intelligence, missing nature intelligence. Somehow, these are all those intelligence. If you did not develop, it will bring you down bad.
maybe can you share a little bit about nature intelligence, Prof?
Okay, as simple as this. Nature intelligence is if your own external environment that is immediate to you. Example, if you are, how should I say, a person who is not clean, a person who is not hygienic, a person who doesn't care, mess around, a person who doesn't look about a proper conducive environment for them, hygienic, conducive environment, how can you survive in that kind of situation? That is your immediate environment.
Mm,
Example, like right now, you throw rubbish everywhere, you don't care, and subsequently, years in later, what you did now will come back to you. That's where we call now climate change. We can see a lot of disasters. We can see a lot of those. The earth is rebelling against us.
yeah.
The earth, the environment is showing that they are not happy with us, what we have done to them. So this is
Mm,
where we are not nature intelligent.
mm,
But most important for all of us, how we live in our environment, whether is it hygienic or not, whether is it conducive or not, whether is it giving us harmony and peace. So we tend to destroy even our own external immediate environment. So we are not nature intelligent.
right. Wow. That is very insightful. There's so many intelligence that we can actually go into the deep dive one by one. I
Yeah.
think one of the most important thing, yeah, we are losing sense of all this intelligence. Maybe some of them are neglected or underdeveloped, so to
Mm-mm.
speak. And it is so important when we start seeing fire, sometimes we do something about it. I think if we sense smoke, I think all this information that you're giving, it's like smoke detectors, and
Yes.
we should detect the smoke before we detect the fire when it's too late, right? Yeah, so I think that's being mindlessness is already probably the house is half burned only, then you realize a little bit too late. All right.
It is no more firefighting. We
mm,
can still go back to preventive rather than trying to cure something might
yeah.
not be cured.
Prevention is always better than
The
cure.
problem is that even though we have been coming out from education system by the school, education system by our parents, education system by the community, which by and large, each and every group of those so-called educators, supposedly to be educators, were not even aware of what is the real education that they need to actually give to all of us when we started from young.
Mm,
So actually, it's all of us, if I can tell you, including me, including all the so-called professors and whatnot, I can tell you, all of us actually are to be blamed for being ignorant or being not accountable for who that passed through in front of us, including our parents, including our elders, because most of us were never really being brought up with that kind of education.
All right, maybe this is a very recent viral news. A viral video was shared around Facebook and WhatsApp, on because we are talking about the importance of being an educator, and we know that 7 years, the first 7 years of a children's, they are those very formative years that will build who they are, most likely. So and a lot of them probably have gone to preschool, and also 7 years old, meaning they have already went to on a standard one, right? So
Yeah,
there's this viral video recently on Facebook, where a video was shown of an educator, a teacher, who just basically hit, a child, a very young child. Obviously, they look like they're in preschool or something, or standard one even. So
mhm.
what are your thoughts? I mean, what can we do? I mean, instead of just uh, obviously, we can say the adult is wrong, or probably we can say
Yeah,
that um, the adult has probably uh, mental issues, right?
yeah.
How can we I resolve this in a way that, because now everything is on social media, so what can probably like the Ministry of Education do?
Okay, first and foremost, obviously, everyone will respond. Everyone who see or get those information will actually make judgment, make thoughts, kind of a thing. And some will respond in a very humanistic manner. Some will respond in a very negative manner. Those are all our own so-called rights to do. But always remember, sometimes judgment can be very wrong. We need to understand first who this teacher is, what kind of a background he's having actually. Sometimes people has gone into what we call psychopathy nature. That means already have so-called psychological problem or
Mm,
psychological disorder, and then somehow they were not able to normalize the society, but they were given the position as a teacher. So this is the issue about how we actually, in a way, detect who can, who cannot. So we cannot just turn a blind eye for those who are responsible, because always remember this. If anything wrong with the child, who will be the first person to we need to look at? So the first 7 years of life, it cannot be anyone else but the parent. It
yeah.
cannot be anyone else but the grandparent. It cannot be anyone else but possibly the uncle, the aunt, because they are the one who's supposed to actually be, how should I say, accountable and responsible for this child within their community. So similarly, if there is particular teacher, the school, what happened to the teacher, the administrator? What happened then subsequently from the school to the local jabatan to the then subsequently to the state and subsequently to the national level? We need to have a very strong ability to identify who can be our teacher, who cannot be our teacher. We should know their background, we should know their profile, we should already able to look at telltale signs. We cannot just ignore if there is any telltale sign. These are what we call, to me, this is what we call uh, attitude paralysis.
Mm,
Most of us doesn't want even to care so much about what goes on. As much as possible, better either to just turn a blind eye or to sweep under the carpet. Not really dealing because we don't like to get the attention if you are the administrator. So I think we need to know who can, who cannot be in this group. For example, the teacher group. Who can, who cannot be in what we call the managerial position. Because some of these are really abusers. Some of these people are really actually they themselves started from a very bad program since young. But based because we only rely on their intellect and ability, we take them into the position just because we thought academic ability is the answer to all these questions. They have to
mm,
be filled up because they can be academically achieved. And I can tell you frankly now, people can also become a very straight A student, good all good result, but they can be the rotten of any person. You
right.
can you can see those kind of things. So academic achievement is not the answer to who this person supposed to be.
Yeah,
But
like what they say, akhlak is not it doesn't equal to academic intelligence, right? Yeah, the
yes,
character
yes.
and the personality. Yeah, I think you're being very objective. By the way, the people the audience on Facebook is wondering why they don't see your face. So just to let everyone know that Prof is talking to us really directly from a beach on a beach. So
Yeah, fortunate. There was a drizzle here, and
yeah, I
if
think
it
there's a technical issues. Yeah, but we can still hear Prof's voice very clearly. So all good. Yeah. So just to answer the audience, why they cannot see your face, I
I'm very
think.
sorry. I'm very sorry. I also cannot do things on my phone. It will actually. I'm worried that it gets disconnected.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No worries, Prof. I think it feels like a radio interview now.
yes.
Yeah.
I would love to hear the sharing from other people too. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I invite you all, whether now or later, to communicate
Mm-hmm.
because we are supposed to be the agent of change.
Mm.
We are supposed to be the one who can make the difference. That's
Right.
why we are on the platform. That's why we stick together. That's why every Saturday night we will, whether we like it or not, we will give time for these things. We want to develop ourselves. We want to make a difference.
Mm.
So try not just to be a listener. Try to also, at the end of the day, we make the difference because we are leaders.
Right, right. I think there are so many there's so many case studies out there that we can actually relate, and we read news every day. So instead of just saying and just agreeing, echoing the crowd, I think we should also have form our own opinions, and or have a little bit of discussion to understand both sides a little bit better, and how we can improve rather than just complain, or instead give a feedback. Instead,
Yeah.
let's look at how we can improve ourselves and see the changes that we can make. Yep.
Always remember this. In all the so-called community, there is always a normal distribution. They call it the normal curve, the
Mm,
bell-shaped curve. In the bell-shaped curve, the normal will go into the median, which is the top of the bell, and then
mm,
they have a plus two and minus two on both sides, which is still the good normal average person. And
mm,
then we have on the right hand side will be the top 3 to 5%. This is what we call either in intelligent, we call it ingenious, or in the normal curve, we call it the one who are extraordinary.
right.
But always remember in a normal distribution curve, there will always be this 3 to 5% of this nature of people who are somehow not properly baked, not fully made, not able to actually be in the society as what we hope for. So these are
Mm,
called a normal group of people or
mm,
the normal variant of a normal distribution. They may
mm,
have a disorder, they may not have a disorder, but they may have what we call the traits that is negative as persons to the positive.
Yeah. But if nurtured correctly and a little bit more being understood rather than misunderstood, this group of people can also be led to a good direction
Yes,
in life. Yeah, yeah. I think the society, if we all take a less of a judgment view on it, I think we can all make the world a better place, lah. As cliche as that may sound. Okay, Prof, there is one last question since we are closing this session soon. There's one question from the floor, from Facebook actually. Prof, can you share some of the stories of someone who has applied these concepts and successfully changed their mindset or other people's mindset?
oh,
Mm.
actually, you can see, I mean, for me, I've got experience with students. I've
Mm.
been in teaching field for since actually 78, 79.
Wow, how many
Uh,
years is that?
I was already a lecturer, assistant lecturer, or a tutor, and then I go into clinical specialty. 93, I came back as a full-fledged lecturer. But when I was doing my residency in psychiatry, I'm also teaching, tutoring students in university. So actually, my teaching with students are quite a bit in that sense from that year until now. Only that I've got a 10-year lapse. So I can tell you there are numerous of these people who has gone through into situation, who has gone into this kind of a problem that was able to come out much, much better. In fact, actually, most of us, I can tell you frankly, why we choose psychiatry, why people want to choose psychology, why people want to go in the sense of understanding human being is possibly they were looking for the answer themselves when they experience something that they feel is not right within them. So because of that, they have the tendency to look for more answers, to learn better. So to come up with example, I can tell you frankly, if you were to ask for a number of those so-called those person who has committed serious crime and now they are waiting to go under gallows. They are supposed to be actually punished by death. They have a lot of time to reflect. They have a lot of time actually to think about the past that they had done, and actually, I would say majority of them actually become better person even while waiting for that kind of a sentence to come. So you see, we will have to only get what we call a very serious consequence of our action. Only then we become a true realized person to change. I always state to Francis, to Felicia, maybe I will only seriously look at my diabetes if I have gone into situation where I know I really regretful. Until unless I don't regret what I'm doing, I am always a risk taker who will actually play with the risk that I have. And
Mm.
sometimes there enough to just see whether I will get it or not. This is what happened. So if you want to see people who change, is when people who really get into a very tight situation, tight spot, and then the realization becomes so serious, then the acceptance becomes very clear, then the wanting to change becomes so easy, and asking people to assist them will become much, much easier to achieve.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's really good. We're always trying to look for our own solutions to our own problems, right? And people somehow don't change until they really feel the pain or really literally facing life and death situations. So there are enough stories out there that have seen those changes. Hopefully, it's not too late for us. Hopefully, we don't need to be sentenced to death. Only try to change. That is our hope, why we keep on educating or we keep on sharing
Yes,
uh these thinkings and these so-called theories, and so that we can apply it to our daily lives. So thank you,
Yeah.
Prof, for that question. Yes, we have a suggestion from Nurin. So Nurin,
Yeah.
can you speak up?
Hi. Um, I maybe my suggestion is for next week's topic. Um, I have this one problem, which is difficulty to sleep. Ever since I was in Form 1, when I enter boarding school, I always sleep with earphones on because I am scared to sleep in silence. And this habit developed when I was in Form 1, 13, even until now, when now I am in 21. So maybe next week I think Prof can explain more on how to sleep better, because even if I try to sleep without the earphones on, I can't because I feel so scared.
Okay.
Okay, so
Mm.
All right. Thank you,
uh,
Nurin.
Thank you,
For,
Nurin.
uh,
yeah.
it's to one point where I can't sleep. Everyone is asleep. It's like 2 or 3 p.m. I was under my blanket. I'm so scared. I'm kind of shaking, sweating. I just
Hmm.
so scared.
Mm.
So maybe you can
Okay.
talk on that.
There is two issue here, Nurin, just for today, just a quick one. The issue number one is why are we cannot have peace in ourselves? That's when our mind, when it is not peaceful, our mind can become so cluttered, so muddled, so lot of things that we worries. So I think the issue here to start with is actually some kind of fear or anxiety has developed. And that's
Mm.
why you have difficulty as the complication is sleep. Secondly, you need to be distracted. You need to actually, you see what happened with your mind. If you want to quiet your mind, you have to have something to come into the mind from the ear. And that's why when you put your earphone, you hear something else, it takes over and see what has been in the mind. That is where then you can then get better sleep, because whatever that you have put forcefully through your ears by the external source make you feel much better, and it can oversee the thinking that you have before. So this
Mm.
could be one. That's why I tell you frankly, if I can give you a suggestion where I can write for you your self-hypnosis, that self-hypnosis will then actually have the content, the information that you can actually change the way you see things around you, the way you feel about things around you, what fears you, what make you anxious. All this can be overcome by the new programming through self-hypnosis. So maybe I can write for you what are the things that you can use so that you can subsequently get into the subliminal electrical charges in your brain, the wave that make you more relaxed, the theta and the delta wave. Subsequently, you can sleep very well, very soundly, because your mind can be quiet by then. That's,
Oh,
that's
all right. Thank you, Prof. I think yeah,
everything.
I think thank you, Noreen, for the question, and Prof for the few suggestions that you have suggested. Yeah, I think sleep is definitely one of the most commonly faced issues. I think because we are so there's so much noises, from everywhere.
Yeah.
And then we have 70,000 thoughts that goes through our mind every single day, and a lot of it is actually old thoughts, right? So
Yes. Yes.
we are very noisy people until like when silence scares us, and we need other things to distract. So it's amazing that Nurin can share this with us, because I think it's very common. Sometimes even myself, if I find myself too noisy, it will be hard to actually close my eyes and not think about anything. So to be again mindful, and to fix the problem, not distract yourself. I think that is the key, what Prof is suggesting. So yeah, perhaps we can look into it on a more wholesome topic regarding sleep, and regarding calmness, or regarding how to calm your mind. That would be
Yes.
good. Perhaps we can have an online self hypnosis or affirmation session that everybody
Yeah.
can sort of tune into their earphones, and we can do mental relaxation together.
Okay. Okay. We'll do that.
Yeah,
Maybe I
that'll
can
be good.
introduce it
Perhaps.
next week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I think during the fasting month, let's see how we can do a bit more on a meditation and also mental relaxation. So towards more, because I think it's a spiritual one for our Muslim friends. So
Yeah.
it will be a very interesting month to sort of do a lot of self-reflection, besides observing the fasts and prayers, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much, everybody, for tonight. Thank you to our Facebook audience for the lovely questions and tuning in and staying with us. So tonight we discuss about how to have a new mindset. And we know that it's a conscious decision. It's something that how do we turn mindlessness, or how do we observe or be aware of our mindlessness and turn it into mindfulness,
Yeah.
and even a professional mental health expert would still have mindlessness, because we are all humans, and the most important thing is that we know and we are very aware of it. That's how we get to improve. And through this platform, with our session, Saturday session by Fit Unit and PRKPP, with Prof Mohammad, Coach Francis, Nurin, myself, and all the regulars, everybody, to have this session that we can replay on Facebook Live and also on our YouTube links. We can continue to share this with people that we love, we know, we care. To improve to improve everybody's life. I think this is the time to really hashtag kita jaga kita, right?
Yeah.
And most importantly, stay safe and enjoy your weekend, Prof,
Yeah.
in Telok Batik, and
Yeah.
everybody else. So we meet again soon. All right, take
Yes.
care. Good night. Have a
All
good
right. Good
weekend.
night. Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Sorry you can't
Bye
see
bye.
me, but
Thank you. Good
I
night.
can see you all. Thank you. Bye.
Bye
Awesome.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank
Good
you. Good
night. Good
night.
night. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Take care.